haven't been in water. They've just been laying on the counter. Sorry, my eyeball's poking. Hi. But this guy didn't root at all, and it wouldn't have helped if I had planted him. He was just too far gone. The ones that are stiffer and firmer are the ones that you're going to want to select. That being said, occasionally if you leave them for long enough, the wiltier ones will sprout some roots only out of the very, very center, which is fine. They can get plenty of roots out of that. And this guy is rooting out there, even though it was a pretty damaged leaf. And that'll make a beautiful baby. Okay, let's see. If you're not propagating, what else? Even if you don't want to share them, if you don't have friends that are crazy and love plants, you know, just breaking off a leaf now and then and putting it back into your pot to get a really, really thick pot. And you can see this guy was done from cuttings. I'm gonna see if I can. Down in here. These are just the edges of the cuttings that then sprouted out this new growth here. Not sure if the sun is letting that see. But anyways, almost all of the plants that you're going to buy like this were started from cutting that seed because it's just so much faster. Okay, I need to wrap this up. Let's see. When your orchid cactus is blooming, don't move it. They really don't like changing conditions, and this goes for Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, all those holiday type cactuses. They really don't like being moved when they're blooming, and that's why sometimes you'll buy them around Thanksgiving or Christmas at the store, and they're all budded out, and then you bring them home and all the buds fall off and they don't bloom at all, and it's so discouraging. And the reason is they just really don't like their climate changing when they're trying to bloom. And so it's a good idea to let them bud in a cooler environment and slightly darker environment, but then bring them into where you're going to want them before the buds get very big so that they can adjust. The other option is to leave them out if you have a garage or a cooler environment where you're letting them bud, is to leave them out until they're actually blooming and then bring them in. And they do pretty well that way too. It's kind of, I don't know, hit or miss for me which way works better. The best way is to just not move them at all, but unless you live in a very specific environment and your house indoors goes down the right amount and up the right amount at different times in the season, it's really hard to get them to bloom. And I've had a lot of people talk about Thanksgiving cactuses in particular, which most people call Christmas, but a true Christmas cactus is actually a bit different. But that they have a lot of trouble getting them to bloom, and they're like, oh, am I not feeding it enough, or am I watering it too much? And usually it's too much water and too much light and too warm. They really need that temperature drop and the lower water levels for a while to set blooms. Ideally they like below 50, but 50 to 60 is what most of them need to set blooms. Well, below 50, I say that, below 50 is not ideal. Below 50 is when they can tend to spot and the leaves can get damaged because they're a bit too light. Some varieties can tolerate that okay. Some varieties can even tolerate frost. A lot of times it makes them kind of ugly and it damages the leaves, but they survive, which is amazing. But 50 to 60 is great for them to set buds. Yeah, so in general, if you have Christmas cactus and you have really good success with them, treating an orchid cactus like a Christmas cactus or a Thanksgiving cactus is a really good bet because they're very, very similar and related. There are day and night flowering of these guys. A lot of the night flowering orchid cactus, well, I say a lot, no, a few of the night flowering orchid cactus are very fragrant, which is exciting, but they only flower at night and they literally close up and die off before the morning sun comes up. So unless you're going to stay up at night, you'll probably miss them. which is sad, but they are amazing and beautiful, and they flower at night because the insects that pollinate them are moths that are active at night. But most of them are day flowering, and they are not fragrant, but they are gorgeous, so it's okay. We forgive them for not being fragrant. If they get too much sun and go that yellowy reddish brown color, just give them a little bit of shade and a little bit more water, and they should perk right up again. If they're turning a bit in the cooler winter months, you don't have to worry so much. In fact, sometimes that helps them set buds if they're a little bit stressed. And what we say is stressed, and I'm using that in quotation marks, invisible quotation marks, what we call stress is what they call their normal environment. But we have to kind of purposefully do it to mimic it. And I think I'm going to wind up there. I could just kind of keep rattling on, but I think that's most of the important stuff. I hope that helps someone, and I will show you this guy in a different season also, and maybe make a video of the cuttings once they start sprouting up so you can see how they branch out at the top. They're kind of cute, I think. Alrighty, that's all for now, and happy growing!